Hey everyone, and welcome back to Becoming Ultimate Masters. This podcast is specifically designed for young adults and high school students. So if that's you, you're in the right place. Today we're diving deep into a book called The Secret Door to Success by Florence Scovel Shinn.
Oh, yeah.
Don't let the old school title fool you. This book is packed with timeless wisdom about how to achieve your goals and overcome any obstacle.
It's true. Her insights are as relevant today as they were way back then. And what makes it so accessible, especially for young people, is the way Shin uses stories and metaphors to illustrate these really powerful concepts.
Right, like it's not just some dry lecture on success.
Yeah.
She brings these ideas to life with real-life examples, and that's what we're going to unpack today. One of the first things that really struck me was this concept of the walls of Jericho. She uses it as a metaphor for the things that hold us back in life.
It's a brilliant metaphor because it instantly makes you think of those massive, impenetrable walls. And that's exactly how our fears, doubts, and negative beliefs can feel, like these huge barriers standing between us and what we want to achieve.
Totally. For me, procrastination can be a major wall. I know what I need to do, but I just keep putting it off. And then there's that fear of failure. Like, what if I try my hardest and still don't succeed?
Yeah.
That can feel like a pretty solid wall, too.
Absolutely. And Shin would say that these walls are often self-created. We build them up with our negative thinking, with our doubts and insecurities. But here's the key takeaway. Just like the walls of Jericho came crumbling down, we can break down those internal barriers too.
How do we do that? Does she give us a specific strategy?
She emphasizes the power of affirmations and focused thought. One story that illustrates this is about a woman who desperately needed to move into a new apartment, but kept hitting roadblocks. She started visualizing herself stepping over a fallen wall, symbolizing her obstacles being removed. And almost immediately, a perfect apartment became available.
Wow, that's a powerful example of how our thoughts can shape our reality. So it's not just about wishing for things to happen. It's about actively changing our mindset to align with what we want.
Exactly. And this ties into another fascinating concept from the book, making bricks without straw.
Okay, I remember this one. It's from the Bible, right? Where the Israelites were forced to make bricks without any straw, which seems impossible.
Right. Shin uses the story to show us that we can accomplish incredible things, even when it feels like we're lacking resources or support. Think about it. You have a huge project due, you're feeling overwhelmed, and it's like, how am I supposed to do all of this with the limited time and energy I have?
It's like that feeling of being totally swamped with schoolwork, extracurriculars, and maybe even a part-time job. It's easy to feel like you're being asked to make bricks without straw.
And that's where Shin's wisdom comes in. She argues that the real pharaoh holding us back is often our own negativity. It's those thoughts of, I can't do this, it's too hard, I'm gonna fail. That kind of thinking drains our energy and makes the task seem even more impossible.
So instead of focusing on what we lack, we need to shift our mindset to a place of possibility and belief in ourselves.
Exactly. One of the things Shin suggests is embracing affirmations like, the unexpected happens, my seemingly impossible good now comes to pass. It's about opening ourselves up to the idea that solutions can come from unexpected places, even when things seem hopeless.
I love that. It's like a reminder that we don't always have to have all the answers or figure everything out on our own. Sometimes we just need to trust that the universe has our back.
She even shares a story about a woman who needed to pay her rent and had no idea where the money would come from. Then she followed her dog on a walk, and it led her straight to a lost wallet with enough money to cover her rent. It's a perfect example of how solutions can show up in unexpected ways when we release control and stay open to possibilities.
That story about the dog in the wallet is wild. It reminds me of that saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It's like the universe is always sending us opportunities, but we have to be in the right mindset to recognize them.
Exactly. Shin would call that being in a state of expectancy. And this leads to another key theme from the book, the wise and foolish virgins. It's a parable about the importance of being prepared and actively engaging with our faith, rather than passively waiting for things to happen.
So it's like, we can't just sit around wishing and hoping for our dreams to come true. We actually have to do something about it.
Right. There's a story Shin shares about a man who dreamed of traveling abroad. He didn't have the money for the trip yet, but he went ahead and bought a trunk to pack his belongings. It seemed crazy at the time, but by taking that concrete step, he demonstrated his commitment to his goal, and it actually helped him attract the resources to make the trip happen.
That's such a cool example of how our actions can align with our desires and make things happen. It's like by buying the trunk, he was essentially saying to the universe, I'm serious about this. I'm ready for this trip.
Exactly. It's about acting as if, putting ourselves in the energy of what we want to create. And I think this concept is especially relevant for you guys. As young adults, you're at a time in your lives where you're making big decisions about your future. What colleges do I want to apply to? What career path do I want to pursue? What kind of life do I want to create?
It's like we're standing at a crossroads, and there's so many paths we could take.
Precisely. And Shin would encourage us to think about what we're preparing for. Are our actions aligned with our deepest desires? Or are we running out of oil, so to speak? Are we putting in the effort making the choices that will lead us towards the life we truly want?
It's a good reminder to check in with ourselves
Yeah,
and make sure we're not just going through the motions, but actually taking steps towards our goals.
absolutely. And sometimes those steps might require us to take a leap of faith, which can be scary, but also incredibly rewarding. And that's where the idea of the long arm of God comes in. This concept is all about recognizing a supportive force in our lives, something bigger than ourselves that's always looking out for us.
I'm curious about this one. Does she mean God in the traditional religious sense, or is it more of a universal energy?
It can be interpreted in many ways. For some people, it might be a connection to a specific deity. For others, it might be a sense of universal love or a higher power that guides and protects them. The key point is that Shin believed there's a force for good that's always available to us, no matter what challenges we face.
That's comforting, especially when we're going through tough times. Like knowing there's something out there supporting us can give us the strength to keep going.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Shin argues that resentment and negativity can actually block us from accessing this divine support. She sees holding on to anger and grudges as building walls between ourselves and this higher power.
So it's like we're cutting ourselves off from that source of strength and guidance by clinging to negative emotions.
Right. It's like trying to receive a radio signal with a bunch of interference. The signal is there, but we can't hear it clearly because we're surrounded by static. So forgiveness and letting go become really important practices for opening ourselves up to that support.
It makes sense. It's like that saying, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It only hurts us in the end.
Exactly. Now, building on this idea of trusting our intuition and making conscious choices, Shin talks about the fork in the road. It's this powerful metaphor for the decisions we face in life and how those choices shape our path.
It's like we're constantly being presented with opportunities to choose between fear and faith, between playing it safe and taking a risk.
Absolutely. And Shin emphasizes the importance of listening to our inner guidance, that still small voice that whispers the right path, even if it's not the most logical or obvious choice.
This resonates with me so much. I can think of times when I ignored my gut feeling and went with the safe option, only to regret it later. Like deep down, I knew what I should do, but I talked myself out of it.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. But Shin would say that those experiences are valuable lessons. They teach us to trust our intuition more and more, and it's never too late to course correct. So if you find yourself at a fork in the road, ask yourself, which path feels more aligned with my heart? Which choice feels more expansive and exciting, even if it's a little scary?
That's a great question to ask ourselves. And I think it speaks to the core message of the book. We have the power to choose our path to create the life we want.
Exactly. And sometimes creating that life requires us to cross our Red Sea, which is another one of Shin's powerful metaphors. It represents overcoming challenges and moving forward with courage, even when we feel afraid or uncertain.
It's like facing our fears head on and trusting that we have the strength to overcome them.
She tells a story about a woman who had all of her money stolen. Instead of getting caught up in anger and resentment, she chose to forgive the person who stole from her. And guess what? She ended up getting all of her money back. It's a powerful reminder that holding on to negativity doesn't serve us. Letting go and choosing forgiveness can actually create space for miracles to happen.
It's like by releasing the anger and resentment, she cleared the way for her good to return to her.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not victims of our circumstances. We have the power to choose our response, to shift our perspective, and to create a more positive outcome. And that's what crossing the Red Sea is all about. It's about stepping into our power and taking bold action, even when we're facing seemingly insurmountable obstacles.
It's like that famous quote, "The cage you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs happen when we push past our comfort zones and do the thing that scares us.
Absolutely. Now, in order to navigate those challenges and stay aligned with our highest good, Shin emphasizes the importance of having a watchman at the gate. It's this idea of becoming more aware of our thoughts. and consciously choosing which ones we allow into our minds.
So it's like we're the gatekeepers of our own minds, deciding what kind of energy we let in.
Precisely. Think about it this way. Your mind is like a garden. You wouldn't let just any plant grow there, would you? You'd want to cultivate beautiful flowers, nourishing fruits and herbs.
So are you saying that negative thoughts are like weeds?
Exactly. They can choke out the good stuff if we let them take over. And just like we need to weed our gardens regularly, we need to be mindful of the thoughts we're cultivating in our minds.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we become better watchmen?
Shinn suggests using affirmations to replace negative thoughts with more empowering beliefs. So let's say you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough. You can consciously choose to replace that thought with an affirmation like, I am worthy, I am capable, I am enough.
That's a great strategy. It's like we're retraining our minds to focus on the positive and to believe in ourselves.
Exactly. It takes practice. But it's a powerful way to shift our mindset and create a more positive internal environment.
And I imagine that having a more positive mindset can make it easier to attract abundance into our lives. Which, speaking of, brings us to another one of Shinn's key concepts, the way of abundance.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets really interesting. This concept is all about cultivating a rich consciousness, a mindset that expects and welcomes prosperity into our lives.
So it's not just about having a lot of money or material possessions. It's about having a mindset of abundance, a belief that there's more than enough to go around.
Exactly. Shinn emphasizes that abundance is a state of mind. It's about feeling grateful for what we already have, believing that we deserve good things, and being open to receiving blessings in all areas of our lives.
This reminds me of that story she shares about the woman who transformed her financial situation. Just by changing her thoughts about money, she stopped seeing herself as limited and started feeling and acting abundant. And as a result, more money flowed into her life.
It's a classic example of how our thoughts create our reality. She also talks about the importance of generosity and giving back. It's not about hoarding our resources, but rather sharing them freely, knowing that the more we give, the more we receive.
It's like that saying, the hand that gives gathers.
Exactly. And here's another powerful insight from Shinn. She argues that we should never talk about our lack or limitations because doing so only reinforces those negative beliefs. Instead, we should speak as if we already have what we desire, even if it hasn't manifested yet.
So it's about speaking our dreams into existence, claiming them as already ours.
Precisely. It's about aligning our words and our thoughts with the reality we want to create. And that's a key principle in manifesting our desires.
I love that. It's like we're taking control of our narrative and writing our own story of success and abundance.
Exactly. Now, in addition to the way of abundance, Shinn touches on a few other really intriguing concepts that I think are worth highlighting. One of them is the idea of I shall never want.
Okay, tell me more about that one. It sounds pretty bold.
It is. It's all about cultivating a deep trust in God or a higher power as the source of infinite supply. She argues that when we truly connect with that source, we realize that lack and limitation are just illusions.
So it's about recognizing that we're always connected to a source of abundance and that we can never truly be separated from that.
Exactly. It's about trusting that our needs will always be met, no matter what challenges we face.
That's a powerful belief to hold,
Mm-hmm.
especially when things feel uncertain or unstable.
Absolutely. And it ties into another concept that Shinn encourages, look with wonder.
I love that phrase. It sounds so magical and hopeful.
It is. She talks about embracing a childlike sense of wonder and expectancy, always open to the possibility of something amazing happening.
It's like remembering that feeling we had as kids, when everything felt new and exciting, and we believed anything was possible.
Exactly. And when we tap into that energy, we become more receptive to opportunities and miracles. Speaking of opportunities, Shinn also talks about the importance of catching up with your good.
Okay, what does that mean?
It's this idea that our good is always preceding us, but we need to be alert and ready to receive it. We need to act on those intuitive nudges and seize the opportunities that come our way.
So it's not just about waiting for good things to happen, but actually taking action to align ourselves with those opportunities.
Precisely. And sometimes those opportunities might feel like they come out of nowhere, like a river in the desert.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this one.
Shinn uses this metaphor to describe the power of divine intervention, the way that unexpected solutions and support can appear in situations that seem hopeless.
It's like a reminder that we're never truly stuck, that there's always a way forward, even if we can't see it yet.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. Now, here's something I find really cool. Shinn also weaves in insights from fairy tales and mythology. For example, she offers a fascinating interpretation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Wait, what? How does Snow White connect to success and abundance?
It's all about the symbolism. She sees the cruel stepmother as a metaphor for the negative thought forms we harbor in our subconscious. Those thoughts, like the stepmother, try to keep us small and prevent us from realizing our true beauty and potential.
Okay, I'm starting to see it. So Snow White represents our true selves, the part of us that's capable of achieving great things.
Exactly. And the seven dwarfs symbolize the protective forces that are always available to us if we just know how to access them.
I love that. So even fairy tales can offer wisdom and guidance for our journeys.
Absolutely. And Shinn uses this fairy tale to remind us that we need to be vigilant about guarding our thoughts. Just like Snow White needed to be wary of the poisoned apple, we need to choose empowering thoughts and beliefs and let go of the ones that hold us back.
It's a reminder that we have the power to write our own stories, to create the happy ending we desire.
And to do that, we need to step out of the Adamic dream of limitation and embrace the truth of our own power and potential. Shinn reminds us that we are not separate from the divine, that we have access to an infinite source of creativity and abundance.
So it's not just about achieving external success. It's about awakening to our true nature as powerful creators.
You've got it. And to help us with that awakening, Shinn offers so many practical tools and techniques, affirmations, visualizations, working with our intuition. It's like she's giving us a treasure map to guide us on our journey to unlocking our potential and living a life of purpose and abundance.
It's about remembering who we truly are, daughters and sons of a king. With access to an unlimited inheritance of good, we just need to claim it. It's so inspiring to think about all of this.
And the amazing thing is, this wisdom isn't just theoretical.
Right.
Shinn shares countless stories of people who use these principles to transform their lives. People who overcame financial hardship, found their soulmates, healed themselves from illness.
It's like those stories give us permission to believe that it's possible for us too.
Exactly. It shows us that these principles work regardless of our age, background, or circumstances.
It's like she's saying, look, this stuff really works. Here are real-life examples of people who have used these ideas to create incredible transformations in their lives.
And what I find particularly inspiring is that Shinn emphasizes the importance of personal responsibility. She doesn't suggest that we just sit back and wait for miracles to happen.
Right, it's about aligning our actions with our desires,
Yeah.
taking those steps towards our goals, even if they seem small.
She challenges us to examine our own thoughts and beliefs, to identify the cruel stepmothers that might be holding us back. And then she gives us the tools to overcome those limitations and step into our power.
It's like she's saying, okay, here's the map, here are the tools, now go out and create the life you dream of.
Exactly. And that's what makes this book so empowering, especially for young people who are just starting to figure out who they are and what they want in life. It's a message of hope, possibility, and unlimited potential.
It's like a reminder that we're not defined by our past, by our circumstances, or by what other people tell us we can or can't do. We have the power to choose our thoughts, our beliefs, and ultimately our destiny.
So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this deep dive into the secret door to success, it's this. You are capable of achieving anything you set your mind to with faith, determination, and a positive outlook. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
That's such a powerful message. And a huge thank you to all of you for joining us on this deep dive into Florence Scovel Shinn's work. Hope it's inspired you to unlock your own potential and create a life filled with success, abundance, and joy.
Remember, you have the power to change your thoughts, change your world, and ultimately change your destiny.
So true. And if you're feeling inspired and want more guidance on applying these principles, we encourage you to check out www.ultimatemasters.org, coaching, or WhatsApp, plus 256-77-1324-111.
We've got some amazing resources and support available to help you on your journey. And don't forget to subscribe to Becoming Ultimate Masters and share this episode with your friends and family.
Who knows, you might just inspire someone to unlock their own secret door to success. Thanks again for listening. Tune in daily for more inspiring content, and remember, you are an ultimate master in the making. Make sure to share this podcast with your friends and loved ones. Who knows, you might just unlock their secret door to success. And for those of you who are ready to take your journey to the next level, head over to www.ultimatemasters.org, coaching, or WhatsApp, plus 256-771-324-119 for more guidance and support.